was a bird flying so high to the sky. Birds and bees are singing in the trees. Wind in your hair, you can see my soul.
Hi everyone, welcome to my new blog on shirt making a bespoke shirt. So hopefully you're going to join me on this journey from start to completion of the shirt, and along the way I'm going to show you little tips on shirt making. I'm going to show you a few tutorials on how to cut sleeves, how to cut the collars, and little sewing methods, shirt making techniques along the way. So hopefully you'll join me. Now, I've just got delivered about 7 meters of some shirting fabrics. Now I'm only making a mock-up, so this will not be the real fabric I'm going to use. It's similar, this is less expensive, but it's pretty good quality still, and so I'm going to be using this. So, and I use this company in England called Acorn Fabrics, and they specialise in shirting fabrics. They've been going for nearly 50 years now, so they specialise in all shirting fabrics. So if you're going to make shirts, use this company. Lovely company. I called them and I spoke to one of the owners. Really nice family run business, so I would support businesses like this. So there we have it. Now, for when you're going to make anything, whether it's a shirt, blouse, dress, whatever, always try and make a mock-up. And it's because whatever pattern you cut, you can be the best pattern cutter in the world, but you've always got to have fittings. It's the fittings that will make the perfect pattern, so please always remember that. So we're going to make a mock-up in this lovely shirting fabric. I'm going to make 3 shirt samples for him because of his back. He's what we call structural anomaly. You'll see as we go along, his back has got some problems with it. So I'm making up 3 back versions, and then we'll see which is the best for him, he likes. But always get some good fabrics, and it's got to have the similar weight. If not the same weight, it's got to be a similar weight, because then you'll see how it drapes on the customer. So always try and do that, please, everyone. Because he's got like a structural defect on his back, I went down, I was recommended to him, so I went down and I actually draped him. When you drape people, you don't need to worry about their figuration, because the fabric will just drape over their bumps and curves anyway, so you don't need to really worry about the balance of how things are. And that's the beauty of how I operate. I combine draping with flat pattern cutting, and I do suggest everyone try and learn draping and flat pattern cutting, because it will really help you with your sewing projects. Anyway, so I went to see him and I draped the template, and from the draped template now I've made patterns. I've made 3 lots of patterns. I've called them version 1, version 2, version 3, because I want to see how it's going to behave on his back. So I've done 3 different back versions, and I've done 3 different sleeve versions, because he wants a lot of room, very, very loose fitting, to go over his little structural anomaly, we call it, on his back. So here's my front. So this is all from my draped pattern. So I've made my front, and you'll see here, this is what we call the placket. So basically it just folds over twice and you've got your placket. Usually this is on the buttonhole side, but as a designer I like to do things a bit differently from the norm. So I actually have created both a placket on the left side and the right side, and so I'll do things. So there we go for that. So that's the front. Now the back, you can see here, this is from my drape template as well, and I've just done a basic back, but I've actually allowed an inverted pleat on the back here, and that allows extra room across his back, especially across where it's affected on his back shoulder blades there. So I've allowed a lot of room. And then I actually flat pattern cut a sleeve. Now this is a very conventional shirt sleeve. You can see it's a very flat crown here. I don't really like working with these flat crowns because it causes a lot of shirt sleeve drags. You'll see it on majority shirts with this shape. And majority shirts are this shape anyway. So I've experimented with deepening the crown, you know, having a higher crown like a jacket sleeve to kind of eliminate the drags you get on shirts. So I've just done that. That's my version 1. We'll just see how that is on him. Now you can see my version 2 sleeve here, because he wants a lot more room on his sleeve. You can see I've curved it out. If I bring the other sleeve for you, you can see here, I'll get it here, shot for you there. You see how straight that is. Now look at this version 2 one. See how it's curved. So it goes out and then comes back into a curve, tapers back to the hem of the sleeve. So we're just going to experiment with him, see how this is on him for the version 2. Now the version of the back, you can see here, I've actually created, this is his back now, I've created what we call a princess line or a panel seam. It's the same, I'll try and get this in shot for you there. Because what happens, if you've got prominent shoulder blades, the armhole actually will gape open. It gapes, and you've got to get rid of that gape on the armhole, because it'll be terrible. So what I did, I created a dart on the armhole, and from that dart, I created a panel seam. So now this dart is concealed in this panel seam now. So that will bring that excess armhole that gapes in. So I'm experimenting with that. Let's see how that goes. And I've got another inverted pleat to give him more room as well. So that's version 2. Version 3 here, I've created a very conventional traditional back yoke that usually is on shirts. You'll see the back yokes, the front yoke is included. And the reason why I did the back yoke, because do you remember I was telling you the panel seam on version 2 or version 3, the actual dart now is concealed in the yoke, because the armhole was gaping. So I created a dart from the armhole, and then I made a yoke from this, and that basically that yoke now is like that. So there's a dart here, but once the yoke is stitched to the bottom part, that yoke now will be concealed in the pattern, and that will bring in that gaping armhole. So I've created that back yoke there with a pleat. You can see the inverted pleat will be there, giving more room. And the version 3 here, you can see now in its full glory here. The sleeve now, I've actually made a higher crown. This is a 6-inch crown. It's nearly as like a jacket sleeve. So that will eliminate the drags you'll see on shirt sleeves. And I've gathered it in. So this will be gathered in, because he wants a lot of room on his sleeve, so that will give it a bit more room as well. So I'm just experimenting, and that's, everyone should do that, because there's no such thing as a perfect pattern at all. You can be the best pattern cutter in the world, but you've got to have fittings, and it's the fittings that will create the perfect pattern for you. So I'm just experimenting with these patterns, but I've got to have fittings, and I'll tweak it here and there in the fittings. You'll see me, and we'll see which version he likes best. So hopefully you'll join me on my next little blog into the world of bespoke shirt making, and I'll see you soon. So ciao for now.